Hi, Paul Durso here, and we're back at it with another module from Mastering the Art of Financial Planning. Today, we're going to be talking about distributions. Distributions can make or break a retirement plan. And what do I mean by that? And we're going to be talking a lot about different forms of distributions, and when you do retire, what eligibility you have in different monies that you may have stashed away here or there, IRAs, 401ks, what have you, and the art of how you take this money can save you money or cost you money in retirement. It can potentially reduce the amount of income or the amount of tax that you're going to be paying in federal income tax, and even in some states, even reduce the amount of money that you pay in state income tax. So there is a quite art to distribution planning for your future. Now I will say this, when it comes to retirement planning, effective retirement income strategies and distributions don't just magically happen. There's quite a bit of thought. There's quite a bit of analyzing your scenario to put you in a proper situation and do a lot of planning to help you set up the best distribution plan for your future. And there's so many different things that come into play, whether you have traditional IRAs, some old 401ks, some Roth, some non-IRA brokerage accounts. I mean, at what point do you take these different forms of monies out? How much do you take out? What's your income level and your tax bracket, or if tax is high or low? I mean, what is the state of the economy and situation around your specific income? A lot of that will dictate which monies you take out, when, and how. So I'm going to be going over in this module just some common things that you run into that's going to apply to most. Now, there's a lot of extra information that we go into in this particular module when we do our full class, but this is just a snippet of some of the things, the most common things that'll apply to you and most other people out there. So let's talk about the first, which is the big one. What happens at 70 and a half? What are you required to do at age 70 and a half, which is start to spend or take out some money out of your 401ks and IRAs at age 70 and a half. It's called retirement minimum distributions. And what you see right here is the chart that you're going to need to know to calculate your minimum required distributions that start at age 7 and a half. One of the things I want to talk to you about right away is when do you have to take your first distribution. Now the rule states it's the year following your 70 and a half birthday. Now let me tell you what that means. That means you don't have to take your first required minimum distribution until you're 71 years old. The problem with the way that rule was written is you're still required to take a distribution when you were 70. That means if you wait till you're 71, you have to take 2 in that year. What does that mean? You're going to be paying more tax. So just get in your mind, you've got to take a distribution when you turn 70 and another distribution every year thereafter. So the first divisor is 27.4. So you would take the value that you have in your IRAs the year before, the year in which you turned 70 and a half. So if this year I turned 70 and a half, I'd look at my total balance of all IRAs that I had December 31st of last year. And then I would calculate, I'd divide that by 27.4. And that amount that comes out is basically the amount that I'm going to have to take out to satisfy my required distributions. Now, a couple things I want to know. Once you hit 70 and a half, you cannot any longer delay this. So between the year 59, the year that you turn 59 and a half, till 70 and a half, you've got this 10, 11 year window that you can plan to reduce your minimum required distributions, and you've got 10 years to do that. There's all kinds of things that you can do to reduce this in conversions and different distribution strategies that you can implement in your life to heavily reduce your required minimum distributions, but you've got 10 years, 11 years to do that. So you can't just wait until you turn 70 and go, okay, let's strategize. No. You got to do that a lot sooner before you turn 70 and a half. Another thing that we want to talk about is basically the timing of when you do these strategies. The sooner is going to be the better. Before 59 and a half, you're really limited on different things. There are certain ones of you out there that you can start at age 55, even fewer select at age 50 in different strategies you can do. But for the vast majority, you can determine how much money you put in a place that's going to be required to take out distributions, or invest in other things like Roths or non-IRAs that don't have a required minimum distribution table. So there's a lot to think about. Another thing that we want to talk about, this is a big common mistake in distributions at retirement, and it's called a lump sum. If you've got a pension plan that you're eligible to take at retirement, there's typically two options that you're available to do. The first one is you just take your pension. You're X age, 65 years old, you're retired. They're going to calculate your retirement income. Let's just say it's $20,000 a year. You can take that $20,000. Or you might look at your company and go, yeah, they're kind of shaky. I don't know how I feel about it. So I think I'm going to take my money and run. And you can take what's called a lump sum. Now, one thing you have to know, if you take a lump sum, it's going to be 100% taxable. So let's just say it was $500,000. You've got $500,000 of lump sum, and you take that distribution, it's probably going to be taxed at or around 40 or so percent, and you're going to kiss all of that money goodbye. 40% of that lump sum is going to walk right into Uncle Sam's pocket because you took that lump sum distribution. So keep in mind, again, this could make or break your retirement, losing that much money of a lump sum. So you really want to plan through that. This is probably not the best scenario for distribution planning. Another thing is, which we see a lot of, is when somebody leaves an employer. They're not ready to quite retire yet. They've got a decent job. They might have done some downsizing or make some changes, or you might have found a better job somewhere else and find yourself going from one employer to another employer. And what do you do with that old 401k? So there's quite a bit of options you can do. One of them is you can put that money into the new employer-sponsored plan. So you have company A that you're working at now. You move over to company B. You've got, say, $300,000 in your 401k at the old plan. You're starting from scratch on the new one. You can move that money into the new plan. Now, some things that you want to note about this. If you go from the old plan to the new plan, whatever options you're available to invest in the new plan is all you can invest in. Once you put that money into the new 401k, it's kind of locked up. You're no longer going to be able to put it into anything else. If you want to buy stocks or bonds or get safe or invest in anything, you're kind of trapped now into what you have put that new money into that new 401k, or sorry, the old money into the new 401k. Whatever's on that options menu, you get to do. And I liken that to like going to a restaurant. You walk into a Italian restaurant, they give you this menu and you can order whatever you want on that menu. But if you feel like ordering, Chinese or Mexican in an Italian restaurant, that's not going to go over too well. It's just not going to work. Well, if you have your old 401k and you put it into a new 401k, it's kind of like ordering off a menu. No substitutions. You can't change your mind. It is what it is. Another option you can do, which I'll skip ahead here, is just roll it into an IRA. You can just take it out of your 401k into the old one and put it into a new IRA. The benefit of that is now it's like walking into a grocery store and saying, hey, this week I really want to cook some Mexican. I want to cook some Chinese. I want to cook some Italian. I want to cook some burgers. You could do whatever you want. You just need to know how to cook and what ingredients to buy. So with much more, options becomes a little bit more responsibility. So you have this comfort about a 401k and you can put all this money in it, but you only get to order off the menu and there's cost associated. There's extra costs associated because of all the extra work they're doing to set that up. It's not free. As opposed to going to the grocery store, you can determine what you buy, when you buy it, how you buy it, and control some of those costs that are associated. Another thing that you can do if you're still working at a company and not ready to retire, depending on your age, somewhere between 50 and 59 and a half, or even older, if you're still working, you have what's called an in-service distribution. And what this basically means is while you're still working, you can take money in your 401k and roll it into an IRA. Now, why would you want to do this? The exact reason I just told you. You don't want to order off the menu anymore. Now you want to go grocery shopping and make something special for your retirement. You want to start planning some distributions, some income strategies that you can take in retirement. We're going to talk a lot about that in one of our modules about setting up streams of income for your future. You can start that earlier by doing an in-service distribution. Now, not every firm that you work for or company that you work for is going to allow this. You just got to pick up the phone, call your HR department and say, hey, do you allow an in-service distribution? It may be one of the best things that you've ever done. I don't know. Because of the options that you're enabling yourself to go find, it may not. It really depends on the type of investor you are and the people that you've surrounded yourself with to help you plan for this. All right? Another thing we want to talk about is moving money to an IRA or to a Roth IRA. Now, one thing you have to note on this is if you convert 401k to IRA or you convert an IRA to a Roth IRA, so you're converting your old 401k into a Roth, you're converting an IRA into a Roth, the first thing you have to understand is there's going to be a tax that is incurred. Now, that just means you're going to have to pay Uncle Sam on that. Now, the good news about that, of where taxes are at the recording of this video, taxes are about as low as they've ever been in history. Actually, the only time they've been lower than they are right now is when taxes were first implemented in the early 1900s. They've only been lower that one other time. Now, taxes are going to go up, but right now they're what I would call on sale. There may be opportunity to convert a 401k or an IRA into some Roth. Why? Well, when you get to that distribution phase in retirement, tax-free income is going to be at a premium because at that point you're stuck. I mean, if you want to make more money, yeah, you're just going to have to pay more tax and you might only have a limited amount of money to work with. So the problem is Uncle Sam is going to become a bigger player for your future. So converting to Roth might be something everybody should consider. Whether you do it or not, I have no idea. But looking at the strategies on converting some IRA or old 401k might put you in a wonderful distribution light for your future, okay? So just a few things that we wanted to touch on in distribution planning. Again, this is an art. This is something very difficult to do masterfully, and we've got a lot of tools that we're going to teach you in the rest of this class to help set you up and empower you to make the best distribution plan for your future. So I hope you enjoyed. A lot more to come.